Pissing our pants yet?
All right, what's going on, everybody? The Area Lord is back for another Season 7 vlog for The Walking Dead. This is a countdown. I was hoping to have this video up 2 days ago because I was going to make a video coinciding the fact that we are a month away, now less than a month away, from the premiere of Season 7 of The Walking Dead. You guys are probably getting very hyped, just as I am. Write in the comments below. I'd actually be interested in knowing how you plan to celebrate. Are you going to be watching this with friends? Is there going to be some big projector? Or are you just going to spend a cozy evening in your living room watching it? Whatever you prefer, I'd like to know. I myself will probably be either watching it in the living room at my apartment here or in my room here. I have a TV in both places. It's just going to be what's best for filming, because obviously I'm going to be filming the reaction. So I'm basically just going to have to space things out a bit and see what's the best fit. So for this video, I actually wanted to focus on two characters that I haven't really focused on. A lot of the vlogs for Season 7 so far have either talked about the character death, who we did not learn the identity of before the season ended, and as well as Negan, his swearing, his introduction in the comics. A lot of the, because obviously he's my favorite villain in any form of entertainment, and I've been hyping his arrival, and now that he's here, it's kind of just this big fan-gasm moment for me to be talking about him and to be seeing him on television, to see Jeffrey Dean Morgan doing him justice, all sorts of things like that. But I wanted to focus this vlog on two other characters that kind of have fallen by the wayside. Interestingly enough, this always seems to happen. It didn't happen at the end of Season 5, but at the end of every season, there's always one or two characters who are separated from our main group, and we don't really know what's going on with them. I mean, even at the end of Season 3, we didn't really know what was going on with the governor. That was kind of left ambiguous. At the end of Season 4, obviously, we had a lot of ambiguity with them the group being trapped in Terminus, and then Beth with the hospital, with the cops. I didn't think that was the most satisfying ending to the death of Beth, which rhymes, but I did not prefer her death, personally. So this is kind of a running theme. For whatever reason, at the end of episode 12 of Season 6, Tara says to, or I think it's either Heath or Tara, say to Glenn that they're going to be on a 2-week run. And so Tara and Heath are just out of the picture. They do not know, at least Morgan and Carol kind of have an idea of the threat of the Saviors and of Negan. They're with the Kingdom right now, but the Kingdom is still a group that opposes Negan, and they're one of the only groups, I believe, in the comics. Their biggest trait when they're first introduced is that they're one of the only groups that told Negan to fuck off, because as you have seen, the Saviors demand half of the resources of the communities that they threaten. And the Kingdom and Ezekiel, their biggest traits is that they were the ones, they had a strong enough group that they could say, nah, just go away. We're not going to fight you, but they kind of have like a neutrality. They're neutral. They're not fighting them, and they're not also, bowing to their demands per se. So what I feel is interesting about this, for me, is that we have two characters now that are kind of out and about. Those obviously would be Tara and Heath, and based on the trailer footage, we have somewhat of an idea of what's going to be happening with them. I think they're going to run into a new group, a smaller group. We don't know how many people are in this group, but what we do know is that there's going to be some type of zombie threat. They're going to be chased by the humans. There's going to be some conflict that's going to occur. We see Tara actually hitting somebody. She's actually hiding from somebody in a self-made hole at one point. A zombie grabs Heath's leg, and he's trying to shoot it. There was some speculation that some of these zombies were actually the Whisperers, which that's a villainous group that doesn't occur until way later in the comics. Basically, they're just people that wear the flesh of zombies, and they blend in and live amongst zombies. There was some ambiguity because the zombies, they were coming out of the sand, and it almost looked like it was people wearing their skin, and it was hard to tell in the trailer, but it did look like zombies. The way they were walking, it definitely told me that they were zombies. There was no way that the Whisperers would be. There's too many groups right now. You got the Hilltop, Alexandria, now the Kingdom, and Negan's groups. You got way too many groups going on there at the current moment. There's already more than enough to tackle. In 8 episodes, they're going to have a little bit of a hard time, in my opinion, juggling some of them. Obviously, there's going to be overlap. I mean, the nature of the show is groups interacting with groups. I hope it's not just, singular, one-on-one, let's observe the nature of one group. It might be necessary for some of the new ones. Obviously, I'm thinking one episode for the Sanctuary and one episode for the Kingdom that's entirely dedicated to it. But then, obviously, I think we should see some of the other comic book moments that I've talked about, such as Negan coming to the gates of Alexandria to demand his payment, and such other scenes that happen that institute some of the conflict that will further arise. Obviously, I want the TV show to do its own spin on things, but those are just some of the things that I'm obviously looking for. So for how they structure the first couple of episodes of the season. But let me know, what do you think of where Tara and Heath are? Because how far could they necessarily be from Alexandria and all the shit that's going down? I have to imagine that the group that they come into contact with, whoever they are in conflict with, has to be related to the Saviors in some way, shape, or form. I'd have a hard time believing that this group is not connected to any of the other groups that we know of right now, or we'll get to know better in the future. So I'm assuming that we're going to get to know these groups a lot better, and that these people, maybe they're people that were displaced by the Saviors. Maybe they escaped the Sanctuary and escaped Negan, and now they're on the run, and maybe they band together with Rick's group or something because they've run into Tara and Heath. I'm not sure. I don't know. At least for the first part, there's conflict. The other question now becomes, how do Tara and Heath get back to Alexandria? Do they band with this group and then they go back, or do they come back when there's a war going on with, if there is a war going on, or how does Tara come to find out? She's going to come back and she's going to find out some gruesome details. She's going to find out that Denise is dead, and whoever gets Lucille / killed in the season premiere of season 7, she's going to learn all these facts quickly. It's going to just be kind of probably heartbreaking to watch her face go from cheery to just complete depression. I really don't know what her reaction is going to be. And then Heath, we don't really know much about him per se. Perhaps the dynamic between him and Tara will give us more insight into his character. I mean, we only got to see him a little bit in season 6 because he was introduced in season 6, and then he had a few moments with Michonne and stuff, like he kind of opposed Rick's dictatorship leadership. He was kind of like, what was that guy? Ethan or whatever, the guy that dies in the premiere of season 6. He was kind of like him, but he fell in line, and I think he obviously came to respect Rick's leadership. He's one of the Alexandria heads. I'd say Aaron, Spencer, and Heath are the kind of like the leaders now of kind of the Alexandria crew. Obviously, Father Gabriel he was from their group down in Atlanta, but he's obviously, as of now, where we left off in the season finale, he's in charge of the defenses of Alexandria as Rick goes off to deliver Maggie. But we have a lot of dynamics coming up, crossroads of characters, and I think that's another question I want to pose in this video. What kind of crossroads are you looking forward to? What character intersections and character conflicts are you looking forward to in this in this first half of the season? Even, are we going to see more of the dynamic between Daryl and Dwight? That's going to be interesting, obviously, because there's a lot of bad blood between them. If Daryl had killed Dwight, perhaps a lot of this wouldn't be happening. Let's see some other dynamics. For me, my favorite is probably going to be Negan interacting with all of the members of Alexandria. I think my favorite interaction that I'm going to be looking forward to is Negan when he realizes that Rick has a daughter, Judith. When he comes across Judith, that is just going to be, because again, that's not in the comics. In the comic book, spoilers, but Judith is dead in the comics. She dies at the prison when the governor invades. And since Judith has not died yet and she's still around, her and Morgan, I think, are the two characters I'm the most interested in, because I don't know what their fate's going to be, because they're both dead at this point in the comic book issue. They're not around in the comic at the time that Negan's introduced. And since they're still alive in the show version, I'm very interested, because I don't know. It's not like I can read the comics and see what their fate is. I literally don't know. And the TV show is literally the only way I'll be able to figure out what their fate is. So I think that's interesting. The same goes for Carol. Like, there's a bunch of characters in the show that aren't in the comics, so it makes it more ambiguous as to what their fate's going to be. Even a character like Abraham, because Abraham survived his comic death, and so now his fate's ambiguous. Obviously, I think he's one of the people that gets killed in the fucking premiere of Season 7. But, yeah, there's him, there's Carol. Even Daryl's not in the comics. He's a character that was made for the show, so Daryl's always going to be a wild card. But I feel like Norman Reedus is so attached to the show that it would almost be impossible to kill him. Like, before Negan was introduced, I thought that Negan was going to kill Daryl, because I thought that would be a way of introducing this villain and pissing people off. And maybe that would go too far, but at the same time, I think that would have probably been the best way to do it. I'm not sure, but that was just my opinion. Obviously, I don't want Daryl's character to be killed off, because I think he's obviously a badass, and a lot of people think he is, so I feel like, Norman Reedus is too attached to this show, and I don't think he would. I think he would protest if Scott Gimple or Kirkman came to him and said that his character was going to die. I think he'd have a lot of harsh words for them, because he's really good friends with Andrew Lincoln at this point, and he's also known Jeffrey Dean Morgan before they did the show together. So, he's been on the show since the start. So I feel like just so has Glenn, yes, but at the same time, I think Norman Reedus just has. He has this whole stigma that's just built from the show. I mean, there was even that show, Ride with Norman Reedus, this past summer, which was basically because Daryl rides a motorcycle a lot in the TV show of The Walking Dead. This is kind of like Ride with Norman Reedus. It's him literally on a motorcycle driving around, because it's almost like watching Daryl Dixon drive around the fucking countryside running into people. So it's almost like they took his character and transitioned to another fucking TV show entirely. There's even a video game, which sucks, but The Walking Dead Survival Instinct, where you play as Daryl and Merle. Like, Daryl's character is kind of like a staple. Like, he's kind of like the big image of the TV series, really, because he's, again, made for the TV show. He wasn't in the comics. So when you think of the TV show, and one big thing that the TV show has, Daryl Dixon is always that one character. So killing him off would be hard. I think when they do kill him off, it's probably going to be when the show is about to end. Like the end of The Walking Dead permanently end, whatever the hell that is, in bazillion years. Because the comic issue still keeps releasing issues, and the only way we'll know when the show will stop is when the comics stop. So, and since the comics keep going, the show's going to probably keep going. So that's the vlog. Just some predictions for Tara and Heath, and then also dynamics. What do you think about the dynamics? Which characters do you want to cross paths and have dialogue and action and screen time with? I'm excited for there's so many characters now, so there's so many opportunities for great scenes. Some of the biggest characters from the comics, obviously Negan, Dwight, Daryl, Rick, the list goes on and on. So yeah, let me know what you guys think. Also, throw some suggestions down in the comments for other vlogs you want me to make for Season 7 to hype up Season 7. I mean, I'll probably won't do as many of these once we get into the Walking Dead season, which is late October into early December. That span of time, once we get into that span of time, I probably won't be making many vlogs like this, because every single week you're going to have a reaction video for the new episodes. So my hands are probably going to be full every Sunday night putting those together, editing them for you guys, and putting them on YouTube, and also trying to make sure I edit them correctly so that I can avoid all of the copyright crap. I was able to avoid it, I'd say 50-50 really for season 6. I ran into some issues, and I cleared up some other issues. It was really like a toss-up whether, I would get in trouble for this kind of stuff or not. So I really just have to be careful and try to respect the copyright as much as I can. So I know that's a difficult task, but I will try my best. So hopefully you guys have been enjoying the vlogs. I saw some nice comments on the previous video where I was talking about the camera angles and how I think the Lucille death will be handled. Thank you guys for that. And my co-op partner, Jack, will be back for the reaction videos. These videos are just me, the vlogs, because, I own this YouTube channel, so when I have free time, I take it upon myself to do some content for the channel and give you guys some perspective on The Walking Dead. So hopefully you enjoy it, and we'll be back with some more vlogs, just in the early parts of October. And again, put some suggestions up, and we'll see where those go. So thank you guys. Peace out.